Gauntlet is a 4-player fantasy-themed hack-and-slash arcade game released in 1985 by Atari. This 4-player aspect was unique at the time, and it became one of the first multiplayer dungeon crawl arcade games. The players had a choice of a warrior, a valkyrie, a mage and an elf, and each of the characters had slightly different abilities. For example, the warrior was a bit more proficient in direct combat, whereas the elf had slightly better shooting, the mage had slightly better magic, and the valkyrie was just a kind of all-rounder. The game is set within a series of top-down maze-like dungeons where the objective is to get to the exit at the end of each dungeon, whilst fending off monsters, collecting treasure, acquiring keys and potions. Interestingly enough, for a dungeon crawler and a video game, especially by today's standards, there aren't any bosses. Although I guess the closest you could call a boss is the death enemy, who is not an individual enemy as such, it's a type of enemy, and can only be destroyed using a magic potion or after it's sapped a certain amount of health from one of the characters. As the game progresses, obviously so does the difficulty, the types and amount of enemies increase, but also an aspect that's going against the player even from the beginning is that it's not only enemies that sap your health will just decrease over time, which I guess is a kind of way to keep people pumping quarters into the arcade machine. So you're going to need to constantly keep collecting food or flagons to keep your health up. One thing I did like in the original arcade machine was that it included digitised speech, and the, I don't know, dungeon master or narrator or whoever it was supposed to be would often get quite snarky with the players when, for example, it would shout out, "Warrior has shot his food," or "Warrior needs food badly," or things like that. It was quite amusing, even after hearing it 200 times. The whole "warrior has shot his food" thing is still something that resonates in my brain, even now. As you can imagine, for a fairly new concept of an arcade game at the time, Gauntlet did very, very well upon its release, and so as a result, lots of ports were made of it, lots of sequels were made for it. In fact, actually, there was even some reboots and remakes that came out relatively recently. But we're not going to worry about all those. What we're going to focus on today is the 1987 Amstrad CPC 464 release by US Gold. So, let's grab your weapons and let's dive into this dungeon, shall we? So we have a nice Amstrad digitised version of the Gauntlet title screen. Interestingly, I don't know who that character on the left is supposed to be. There isn't a character in this game that has a mace. Well, a flail. Morning Star. But yeah, nice title screen anyway. So press space to continue. I think we will. There's the controls and what we need to do. So let's continue. Look at this character select screen. I mean, this is pretty awesome, and the fact that there's a a nice little pointer as well, rather than just selecting text. That's pretty cool. Now, I've always been a bit partial to playing as Thyra. I don't know why. I think she might have been the first character I played when I first played Gauntlet, so that's who we're going to play with today. Thyra the Valkyrie. She's the all-rounder in this game, so let's go into the dungeon with Thyra. The challenge awaits. Okay, Gauntlet, press fire. Warrior, Bill. Bob. Kev. And Arp. Okay, well, my Valkyrie is now officially called Bob. So, okay then, let's let's take Bob into the dungeon. Bob, prepare to play. Okay. Right, okay, well, okay, we've got no texture on the floor, but that's no problem. I mean, this is running fairly smoothly. We've got a nice treasure chest here. Let's collect that. I mean, you know, the graphics on Bob, are, you know, you can make out who she is. That's her ranged attack. She throws swords at people. The ghosts are quite nice. Yeah, I mean, you can make out everything that's going on here. Whoops, I just ran into a ghost. Now, that's the exit to level 2. However, we just got a key, and that there is a door. So, let's continue and find out why there's a locked door in front of the exit, shall we? Now, I know why there's a locked door behind the exit. Now, these ghosts come out of these generators. There's like 3 levels of them, and they produce tougher and more dangerous enemies. The only issue here, though, is the fact that you can't see sort of the strength of the enemies. You could in the arcade game, because they were slightly different colours, the ghosts anyway. Right, there we've got an exit to level 4. Here's some health. And here's another key. Now, this is one big ass door with a lot of ghosts behind it. That's a lot of enemies fitted on the screen at once, though. I mean, they're all animated. They'll all be moving. Let's see what happens, just to test the game out. What happens when we open this door and all these ghosts are freed and they all start moving? I mean, there's no significant slowdown. Get as much health as we can, run away, and there's the exit to level 8. Find the potion. Interesting. Okay, wow, this is a interesting colour scheme. So right off the bat we have a key to open this door, and we are going to be attacked by ghosts. Lots of ghosts. Those red things are demons. I do not want to shoot that. That's food. Those pink enemies are enemy wizards. There's a potion. That's a potion of defense, I think. Oh, and we have lobbers as well. They will throw projectiles over the walls. Those are grunts, which you would have come into contact with in level 2. They don't have a ranged attack. They'll just come up to you and clobber you over the head in close combat. Wow, okay, there's a lot going on in this level. Get rid of those demons. These are other enemy generators. They work like the ghost ones, except they generate other enemies. Like that one down there is generating lobbers, which is going to be a pain in the butt. I dare say that one's go away, generating grunts. Extra armor. Okay, it's an armor potion. I mean, I don't know if that's going to help me much in the long run here, because I'm doing not great, to be honest with you. Now, if you come into direct contact with enemies, you do sort of still attack them. This is where the warrior sort of comes into it, because he's a bit better at that than others. Did I pick that up or did I shoot it? Hope I picked it up. But yeah, it's generally not a good tactic. Right. Oh, there's death. Right, we spoke about death very briefly in the intro. You will see multiple incarnations of death kicking about in dungeons, and he will follow you around, and you can't actually kill him. You've either got to use a potion whilst he's on screen, because that clears out, there's one in fact, clears out the screen of enemies, or I think he takes off 200 health, and then he just disappears. Now, one good thing about the lobbers projectiles is the fact that they do fire them in a sort of like parabolic arc, so they kind of come up and then come back down again. So whilst they're sort of high up in the air, they won't hit you. That's treasure mark. However, when you've got a lot of them on the screen, like there are at the moment, that's not really something that helps. Okay. Keys. Oh, I really do not want to use my... These are all strong demons as well. I really do not want to use my potion here, because I want to keep it for death. No generator here either. Okay, so they were just all hanging around. Or hanging out, I should say. Oh, there you go, shot the food. There's no digitised sound in this, voice in this one, unfortunately. It would be cool if there was, but... I mean, the Game Boy version had it, which was quite impressive for the time. But, I mean, look, this is more detailed sprites, it's colourful. You know, I like how this looks, actually, in fact. I really do. I never played this version originally when it came out on the Amstrad. I only saw pictures of it in Amstrad Action, and I really wanted to have it, but for some strange reason my local gaming shop that stocked Amstrad games that wasn't Woolworths couldn't get hold of it, and Woolies never really stocked it at that time. Oh, there he is. They only sold compilations. Lordy. How do I use that? I don't know how to use a potion. Okay, I'm just going to try and outrun him. How do I use a potion? I don't know, I've paused it. I don't know how to use a potion. Okay. Well, I'm not going to spend any more time on it. Oh, and I've shot some more food. I think it was worth getting hit by those ghosts. Poison food? Oh, that sucks. How did I not see that that was poisoned? Okay, well that will learn me. Right, we've got generators right off the bat. Let's take these guys out. Wizards are a little bit annoying in the fact that they sort of blink in and out of existence. So you try and shoot them, then they'll just disappear. But so far so good. I'm doing better at this than I thought I would, considering I have, you know, it's been years since I last played this in any incarnation. I've never played this version before, and I think the last time I played a Gauntlet game, it might have been, was it the, I can't remember what it was called now, it's the one on the N64, or one of them on the N64, I think there was two. Was it Gauntlet Legends? Was that the one on the N64? I can't remember now. I'm very disappointed in myself that I can't remember what games were on the N64. Oh, do not open that door. I have a key, but I do not want to use it. I need to clear this area out first before I even want to consider investigating that lot. Luckily there are health pickups available for me on the outside here. These wizards, man, these are really irritating. Speaking of health pickups though, I am getting dangerously low on health. I need to find some food. I think, do you know, oh, okay, well, I've just opened the inside now, so let's just, I'm just going to try, I can't remember even where I started in this level now. What I do know, though, is I've missed a key somewhere. I need to find a way into the interior there. To avoid these wizards, and just run away. Now, I probably don't want to go down here, but did I see the exit just now? Yes, I did. Okay, right. If I can get... What now? Oh, that's irritating. Okay, you spend too much time on a level, I think all the doors open, so... oh, I am screwed. I am screwed. Yep. I really like that. But we're going to save these impressions for the final thoughts, which will be coming up just a moment. Okay, so yeah, Gauntlet now. I've always liked Gauntlet, to be honest with you. Always been a bit of a fan. I know I said in a previous video that one of the, I think it was the Turtles video, where I said that was possibly my first experience of an arcade game in an arcade. I think Gauntlet might have possibly been my second. It's odd that they were both 4-player games. I remember one time I was on holiday with my family and there was an arcade and there was a Gauntlet machine, and I decided I was going to put credits in all 4 players and try to control all 4 players on my own, and you can imagine how that went. It was a mess. So there was a few people that were milling around the arcade that came over and decided to help me out. I didn't know who they were, but yeah. But yeah, I've always been a bit of a fan of Gauntlet. It's probably one of the things that's inspired my love for dungeon crawling board games. But yeah, and this version, as I said, I never played this version before, but it looks great, it plays great, the controls are tight, there's no slowdown when there's loads of enemies on the screen, which is pretty cool. The only thing that the arcade version has over this is, okay, yeah, it does look better, but with the Amstrad version, when you fire a projectile, you stop moving. Whereas in the arcade version, you could fire whilst on the run, shooting from the hip, as it were. Whereas in the Amstrad version, you stop momentarily to shoot a projectile. And the projectiles, you can't shoot as many as quickly, which, okay, is probably a limitation of the Amstrad. But aside from that, I mean, you get to sort of get used to that fairly quickly. You know, you try and take out enemies a bit further away than you would if you were playing it on the arcade, and the slower rate of fire, you know, you can get used to. But overall, yeah, I really like this. Solid port of a solid game. Now, when they reviewed this, Amstrad Action very rightly gave this 93% and gave it its Master Game award. And quite frankly, I'm inclined to agree with them, except, you know, how I round my ratings. I'm in fact actually going to round this up to 95. I absolutely love Gauntlet. I would have loved the opportunity to have been able to play it at home. I was obsessed with my Amstrad CPC when I was a kid anyway, so my family would have seen even less of me if I had Gauntlet on the Amstrad when I was younger. So yeah, definitely rounding it up to 95. Very, very much a solid game, and I love it to bits. That's all I can say, really. Gauntlet, 95%. Play it is all I'm saying. This version, any version, even the Game Boy version is fantastic. So yeah, play it. That's all I can say. Gauntlet, awesome.